Her cry shattered the hush of the tavern. It wasn't a scream, it was a sound that froze men mid-sip, made their hands falter and eyes rise. Clara Hayes dropped to her knees on the warped plank floor, wrists bound so tight the rope had chewed her skin raw. Blood streaked her arms and face. Her blouse hung in tatters, barely clinging to her trembling shoulders. She looked 18, but her eyes had seen far too many winters of fear. The crowd stared like hungry coyotes. Whiskey, sweat, and greed thickened the air. Behind the counter, Harlan Blackwood, the keeper of the Golden Horn Tavern, grinned as he pounded the bar. $30 to open. Untouched. Pure as morning dew. Laughter erupted. Coins clinked. One man shouted 40, another 50. Clara tried to cover herself, but the rope only cut deeper. Her stomach clenched, she hadn't eaten in days. Blackwood circled behind her, brushing her neck with filthy fingers. "Don't look so scared, lass," he sneered. "You'll make some fellow mighty pleased tonight." To them, it wasn't cruelty, it was sport. Clara bit her lip until blood ran down her chin. Her gaze darted over the faces, searching for a shred of mercy. There was none. Then, through the din, a deep voice cut clean through. 75. The room went still. Every head turned to the doorway. A tall man stood there, dust on his boots, sun-browned skin, a calmness that didn't belong in a place like this. Levi Thornton, cattleman, widower, and loner. He'd sold a drove of steers a week ago, pockets full for once. He could have fixed his ranch. Instead, he spent it here. Blackwood blinked. "You certain, old-timer?" Levi nodded once. "Hard cash." The crowd murmured. No one outbid him. Blackwood grinned wide, scooping the bills. "She's yours." Levi strode forward, slow and steady. He cut the ropes himself, then slipped his duster from his shoulders and wrapped it around her shaking frame. For a moment, their eyes met. Something flickered there, fragile hope. Outside, dust swirled through the lane as Levi lifted her onto his horse. She sat behind him, silent, wary. He didn't speak either. In Dry Gulch, Nebraska, nothing decent ever came free. After a few miles, Levi reined in near a bluff of cottonwoods. Time to rest. He dismounted, poured water into a tin cup, and handed it over. "Drink." Clara hesitated, then took a sip, eyes fixed on him. Without warning, she flung the cup at his chest and stumbled back. "You think I don't know what comes next?" she cried. "You paid for me." Levi didn't raise his voice. "I ain't like them. You don't have to run." He tossed the canteen near her feet and turned away. "Suit yourself." Clara watched him walk off, jaw tight. But the heat bit cruelly, and thirst won out. She picked up the canteen and followed. By sundown, they reached his ranch, a modest cabin tucked against the ridge. Levi helped her down, steady but gentle. "Sit here. I'll fetch you water." He came back with a clean shirt and a cup. "Put this on. You look like you've been through hell." She changed behind the shed, peeking out every few seconds. Trust wasn't easy anymore. When she returned, she whispered, "You paid for me. Now, do it." Levi froze. "No," he said softly. "I didn't buy you. I bought your freedom." She stared, unsure if she believed him. But something in his tone made her pause. Maybe not every man was the same. Morning came gentle and still. Levi was already mending the corral, while Clara helped clumsily, hands shaking with each swing of the mallet. She'd slept in a bed, eaten her fill. Calm felt foreign, like wearing someone else's skin. Levi's voice carried across the yard. "You keep at it, you'll earn your supper." Clara managed a faint smile. The first real one he'd seen. By afternoon, heat rippled over the plains. Levi filled the trough, Clara gathered kindling. For a moment, peace settled in like dust after a storm. But peace never stayed long in the west. Back in town, Garrett Slade sat nursing whiskey at the Golden Horn. Men laughed about how an old rancher outbid him. He slammed his glass down. That cattleman took what's mine. 2 hired guns followed as he rose. Saddle up. We'll pay him a visit before dusk. At Levi's spread, the wind shifted, low and uneasy. His mare twitched, nostrils flaring. Clara was inside, humming softly as she cleaned dishes. Levi stepped onto the porch, eyes scanning the horizon. A plume of dust rose, 3 riders. He loaded his rifle. "What is it?" Clara asked from the doorway. "Trouble. Stay inside. Bar the door." The hoofbeats drew close. Garrett dismounted, spurs biting earth. "Evenin', Thornton," he called. "You got something belongs to me." Levi stood firm. "Don't reckon I do." Garrett smirked. "You think buying her makes you some kind of savior? You ain't no saint. Hand her over before this turns ugly." "She ain't yours," Levi said quietly. "Ain't mine neither. She's her own woman. Now ride back." Garrett's grin vanished. "That girl owes me." "She don't owe you a damn thing." The standoff cracked like lightning. One of Garrett's men flinched toward his gun. Levi fired first. The man spun, clutching his shoulder. Garrett's revolver flashed, a bullet splintered the trough beside Levi's head. Clara screamed. Levi shouted, "Stay down." He fired again, grazing Garrett's sleeve. One of the riders bolted. The other froze. Garrett snarled. "You can't shoot your way out of this, old man." "Maybe not," Levi said, "but I can sure try." Then Clara stepped out onto the porch, Levi's revolver clutched in trembling hands. "Leave us be," she said, voice shaking. "You had your chance." Garrett blinked. The girl he'd once broken now stared him down like fire. He took a slow step back. "This ain't over." Then he mounted and rode off into the fading light. The yard went quiet but for the moan of the wounded man. Levi patched his arm, strapped him to his horse. "Tell your boss," he said, "next time, I won't miss." When the dust settled, Clara helped gather spent shells. Levi sat on the porch, arm wrapped from a graze. She handed him coffee. "You did good," he said. "I was terrified," she whispered. "Only fools ain't. Fear means you're still alive." They sat under the broad sweep of stars. For the first time in months, Clara didn't feel small. She felt strong. "You could have let me go," she murmured. "Why didn't you?" Levi looked out toward the hills, voice low. "Maybe I saw someone worth saving. Maybe I just wanted to do right, once." The prairie wind cooled the night. Clara touched his hand, light as a whisper. Between them hung something quiet and new, not pity, not debt, but the faint beginning of hope. Weeks passed. Wounds healed, fences mended. Nights brought bad dreams, days brought laughter. Bit by bit, they built something steady. He never called her broken. He called her hope. And that changed everything. Because in the Wild West, courage wasn't just pulling a trigger. It was choosing kindness when rage was easier. It was standing tall when the world tried to break you. And sometimes, that was the bravest thing a soul could do.